everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. This is Victor Mavidzenga, the host of the podcast Mirror Within. And today we're going to carry on the discussion on road rage and discuss particularly the tools I used to get out of it. In other words, what methods I employed to be able to get to the space I am in now. Part of the motivation to change was, of course, the financial implications, because I lost my car in that accident I had because I was so enraged by the driver who had cut me off. But more than that is the potential ruin of other people's lives, including my own. After the accident, I just could not bear the thought that I could have harmed or even taken somebody's life, or my life could have been taken because of my actions. And then what would my kids have to go through? What would my parents, my friends have to go through? My community have to go through? What would that other person have to go through because of my actions? So it became very important for me to focus on how to heal from this space and become a better person in terms of interacting with the world around me. In this episode, I will discuss the tools I used to get to where I am. And I guess the big question mark is, where am I now? Well, the feedback I get from my community and people around me is that I have got a positive and calm and insightful demeanor. That's how people view me. And I guess I believe that. I will take that because I still carry my no BS attitude. I'll call things out as they are and I will speak my truth. But now the difference is I don't do it with aggression or with a meanness to it. I do it in a more compassionate way that aims to just highlight the truth. And in so doing, I remain true to myself. So hearing that I exude a positive and calm, insightful demeanor is such a welcome thought. And like I shared in my last podcast, my how can I call it? I guess my sign that I'd arrived at this place was when one guy was yelling at me. He was really having a breakdown and just yelling in my face. I mean, you can imagine a storm of whatever comes out of a person's mouth when they're yelling. That was happening. I wish I had an umbrella then. But in the middle of his meltdown, he said, you're so calm. And I knew I'd arrived. Now, I mentioned that because how I got there is one of the tools I used. And I'm going to talk more about it within this podcast. I wasn't always this way, this calm, positive, insightful, laughing, joyful person. I was really bitter and self-loathing. I was quick with an insult. I mean, that was the world I came out of. I came out of a very angry, dark world that viewed the outer world as an enemy, and me always being the victim and always having to defend myself. So I was always ready to defend myself, even though there was no imminent threat coming my way. So it has been a journey. It has been a very distinct journey in terms of the changes I went through. Sometimes I'm even surprised at the reactions I have when things happen in the world around me, because I'm now taking on this bird's eye view and being able to look at situations as they are and not be compulsive and just react to any given situation as though I'm under attack. Again, I will cover more of that on what I mean by taking a bird's eye view. So that's where I came from. And now I'm calm, I'm peaceful, enjoying intermittent moments of bliss, which is so delightful because when you can smile on your own on the drive to work for absolutely no reason but the fact that you're alive, when you can take in the grandness and magnitude of life and its beauty, not in terms of the beauty of a rose, but the beauty of simply being alive, being part of this magnificent creation, being part of the universe, is just mind-blowing. And when I understood that emotionally and intellectually, I realized that I'm part of this divine creation and I contribute whether I'm thinking about it or not. And I choose to contribute positively. I choose to remind myself to contribute positively when I find myself slipping. So that's where I am now. And just being able to step away from the chaos and confusion within and without, it's just a fantastic space to be. So seeing things as they are and being able to navigate and not identify myself with things or situations has been a tremendous leap for me. And this is where my first bag of tools comes in. And it was delivered to me through a digital teacher. His name is Sadhguru. That's Sadghuru. Sadhguru. He's basically a guru who's sharing a lot of wisdom on many platforms and doing amazing things in the world. But what drew me to Sadhguru was he was the opposite of what I was. I was looking at an elder man, probably in his mid-60s, and when he was asked the question and before he responded, he laughed. I remember this moment when I watched him laugh. I think it was on YouTube I was watching, and his shoulders just shuddered like a kid. He was so blissful. He was so happy, so calm, so just a delight to see. And I asked myself, how come he's so happy? How can he be so happy like a child? And so I started following him and listening to his teachings. And eventually I got onto practice some of the meditations he offers on his app. If you just look up Sadhguru on iTunes, on the App Store or the Google Play Store, you will find his app. And he's got some free meditations he has there, which have been totally life-changing for me. The first one is called Isha Kriya, and I won't go too much into what it's all about, what it is rather. In other words, the mechanism, the mechanics of it. I'm not well versed in how it works, but from hearing what it does, I became very interested in trying it out. At first, I was very skeptical because part of the mantra you chant is, I am not the body, I am not even the mind. And you chant this over and over, guided by Sadhguru, or you can do it by yourself. But what what Isha Kriya does is it separates you from your body and you from your mind. I'll say that again. It separates you from your body and separates you from your mind. Now, of course, this doesn't sound logical at all, because then who are you? Well, that's the big question, right? That's the big philosophical question we've all been grappling with for centuries. Like, who am I? What is the I am that we speak of? We won't go too much into that. But what Isha Kriya did for me was it helped me gradually separate from identifying with situations and events per se, even material things, identifying with them. I am not my car. I am not, my friends. I am not the situation that happens, be it good or bad, whatever we may choose to name it. The problem with identifying with these situations is then we become owned by them. In other words, we try to protect that car. We try to, we become enslaved by what we own, so to speak. So Isha Kriya helped me make that separation and just step away and be able to look at things with a bird's eye view and not be compulsive in reacting to them and be more rational. So that gap between action and reaction is where rational thought came in for me, is where the action simmered down and I didn't need to react in some situations. So sometimes a little distance really helps me just get through situations by not reacting compulsively immediately to it, kind of fanning the fire, so to speak. So Isha Kriya really worked for me in terms of just being able to assess a situation and make a conscious decision whether I should respond, react to it, or just let it be. And so I'm at the point now where I've been insulted many times. I'm from Africa. So one time I was walking to work and this guy stops me and says, "Can you help me push my car?" And I was late for work, so unfortunately I could not stop and help him push his car. And he said to me, "Go back to Africa. You don't belong here." And that was sad. That was really sad for me. I chose not to react. I chose not to engage and carried on walking. Prior to this, if we were to set the clock back 5 years back, that would have been a terrible situation because I was geared up for such situations. But because of my practices, I was able to walk away and let it be. But as though the universe was testing me, I get to work. I worked at the Berkeley Drop-In Center in Berkeley. And as I get into work and I settle in and blah, 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 there's an altercation. I try to break it up. We have people hanging out in the center. I try to break it up. And what do I get? I get the same treatment. This one guy turns to me and says, "Oh, you don't belong here. Go back to Africa." It was really hilarious for me because on one part, yes, it hurt. It kind of hurt because here I am, an African in America. I'm not African American because I am an African in America. And why I'm laughing is because the first person who said that to me in that morning was a white guy. The second person who said to me was a black guy. So at the end of the day, when I look at it, it's like I chose not to engage with both of them because I didn't want to be in a relationship for life being known as the person who engaged in a physical altercation with these two people because they told him to go back to Africa. And as I reflected in the evening, every evening I sit down just to reflect on my day, what worked, what didn't, how did I navigate my day, and so on. I just sat and laughed at it. It was so hilarious. It was just so funny to me that two people who are diametrically different have the same message for me. It was just hilarious. And at that point, I realized that people's perceptions are theirs. They're not mine. Nor are they me. They can become me if I choose to engage with them and interact with them, but to each their own. So, and I credit my calmness in these situations a lot to Isha Kriya because as I started doing this meditation with a lot of skepticism because I didn't think it would work, I just started realizing that my actions were altering, and I became more like the poem Invictus says, I became the master of my destiny. So I highly recommend you check out Isha Kriya if you want to get on a journey. I won't say what you will get out of it because I don't know how you will react or what your energetic system is set up to be. But what I will say is it's worth exploring. So I want to go on to talk about the affirmations I listened to. I did mention that in my last podcast where I talked about the road rage. And I came across Justin, and he was talking about affirmations. I came across him on YouTube, and he's from the channel We Are Creators. So shout out to Justin from We Are Creators. You've made a huge contribution to my life. I've never met you, we've never spoken, but I listened to your voice for months on end, and your affirmations really worked. I'm speaking directly to Justin here. Hopefully you'll hear this. And what I realized is that as I listened, I didn't even listen to the affirmations with intention. I just put my headphones on and let them play until I fell asleep. Woke up with tangled wires all around my neck and so on. But after months of listening to Justin's affirmations, I became the embodiment of those affirmations. People told me I'm a great public speaker. People told me I'm very insightful. People told me I was calm. People told me I was peaceful. People told me I was a joy to be around. These were all affirmations I'd been listening to for months on end. I am calm. I am peaceful. I am a joy to be around. I am insightful. I am a great public speaker. So I highly recommend you check out affirmations if you haven't already, and just do it without resistance. Do it without force, just put it on, let it play in the background, but be consistent with it for some time and see what results may come of it. What I would recommend is not to resist it and just let it be, let it play in the background, and see if it begins to manifest in your life. And the last tool I will share in this episode is the Game Changer. Now, this was a big one for me, and again, it's by Sadhguru, who I've mentioned before, and it's called Shambhavi Mudra. And Shambhavi Mudra, according to Sadhguru, opens you up to grace so that you don't have friction in doing things. As he leads you into the meditation, he talks about some people have a frictionless life. They just go effortlessly through life, doing things effortlessly, while other people just face mountains of resistance at every turn. You just can't seem to get things done. And Shambhavi Mudra opens you up to grace so that you'll become like a well-oiled machine. Now think of your car without oil in it. It won't go very far. So grace is the lubricant that makes you go about your life effortlessly. And again, I was like, well, it is what it is. I mean, I'm at wit's end. I've got nowhere else to go, nothing else to look to. I might as well. There was a draw for me to do it also, to just dive into what Sadhguru was teaching because of how I'd observed him laughing like a child, so blissful, so happy. And yet here I was, about half his age, so miserable, so broken. That's why I jumped into Shambhavi Mudra. And within a couple of months, it was just stunning, the kind of results I personally got. I say I personally got because I don't know what you will get. I'm not saying you will get the same results as I, but I'm just sharing with you what I got. I'm very sure, very positive that if you're consistent with Shambhavi Mudra, I can't say for how long, because again, I don't know who you are, but what I will say is that I began to notice things that were borderline miracles. People reacted differently to me. I mean, I would have people walk up to me and say, "Hey, how are you? How are you doing?" Or give me a head nod, a knowing head nod from a distance. If we just made eye contact. Animals reacted differently to me. I could see that dogs especially would be more energetic, more lively around me. This wasn't the case before. And this all started happening when I started Shambhavi Mudra. And but also the intensity of my calmness, which is kind of like contradictory, intense calmness. But in any case, just my calmness just intensified. I became calmer, way calmer. I just felt life more. And when I got to tasks, I just began to do them. Just decide, make a decision, and get on it. Previously, I procrastinate, make excuses, or even begin the negative self-talk like, "Oh, you can't do it, it's no use." Even this podcast, I would not have imagined, speaking to myself to begin with, and then putting it out to the world to listen to me 5 years ago. I would not have done this at all. But now I just follow my heart, my instinct to say, I will do what calls me to action. But mostly, if sharing this can change somebody's life, oh, my part is done. My job is done. So once again, I highly recommend you checking out Shambhavi Mudra. It was a game changer for me, and it still is. I still practice Shambhavi Mudra every day, morning and evening. I still practice Isha Kriya morning and evening. It's part of my routine now. And I'm feeling good. I'll tell you this. I'm feeling good. I could be going through a very rough day, but I'm feeling good. I hope if you're in a dark space, you can find some light in this, knowing that there is a way, there is a path. So with these tools, I learned to be gentle with the world. I learned to curb my compulsiveness. I learned to be compassionate with myself and hence with others. The old adage is true. As within, so without. As I became calm on the inside, I acted calm on the outside. And now the last kicker. Prolonged states of anger make you sick. I'll say that again. Prolonged states of anger will make you sick. Your body's chemistry will not be supportive of a healthy life. You can look it up. You can look it up if you want. But when you're angry for prolonged periods, your body produces chemicals that are harmful to itself. Let that sink in for a minute. So being angry does not hurt anybody else more than it hurts you. It basically can kill you. All right, my friends. I hope you found this useful. I'll leave you with my anchors. These are the anchors that keep me in place when I find myself straying. I am an agent of change, and my attitude determines the outcome. I will say that again. I am an agent of change, and my attitude determines the outcome. So this is a saying I say to myself. It's my own personal mantra. Feel free to use it if you will. But what it means is that however I choose to act, whatever attitude I choose to carry into the world will influence the outcome. And I have the ability to make change. The thing is, we're influencing each other every day, sometimes without even saying anything to each other. A look may uplift a person, may break down a person. I ask myself, what kind of look am I carrying when I go out into the world? Have I just given a person who is on their last straw, who is really struggling, a really heavy look that breaks them down? Have I forgotten to give somebody a compassionate look when I can't stop to at least share space with them? I'll end with this. I was studying in the UK for art at the Slade School of Art, totally magnificent place. And as it was the end of the day, so as I was going out to catch the bus to go home, there was my classmate. Now this was the first week of school, so we didn't know each other, and she was sitting by the staircase crying. She was bawling. I mean, she was really broken down. And I just, I didn't know her enough to be able to sit by her side and offer her some company in this tough space she was in. But I just looked at her and I said in my mind, I feel your pain, and I send you love, I send you light. I just said it in my mind as I looked at her, and then I walked away. The next day she came up to me and she said, thank you for doing that. I felt your compassion. Not in those words, I can't remember exactly what she said, but she said she felt something that uplifted her in that moment. So let's go out into the world and share compassion and share love, because we are agents of change. But let's realize that because we are agents of change, we can change ourselves, and we can do miraculous things with this amazing thing called a human body, human mind, human spirit. What makes us human is the fact that we can think. Let's think about how we can become better. I'll end with a quote from Ars Poetica, and it goes, the only thing that is a man is his mind. Anything else you can find in a horse or a pig. Of course, that's dated, because the only thing that's human, not just man, is the mind. Go well, my friends. Go be blissful. Go be joyful. Go find your path where you can be most productive, most happy, most positive, most engaging, and most loving. This has been Victor on the Mirror Within podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay well.